for that warm welcome, and Aging and Independent Services for allowing me this opportunity to share some of my knowledge, I guess, that I've acquired over the last many years of working in this field with the aging population. Actually, I have fond memories of Aging and Independent Services. When I was just out of grad school, I worked on one of the committees, and we did helped with a lot of the research for their Feeling Fit program. So Aging and Independent Services is an incredible organization. So I'm happy to be a part of working with you again. Yay. So thank you for having me. Again, my name is Danica, and we're going to work on some balancing exercises today. Balance, of course, we all know is so important for fall prevention, and since it's Fall Prevention Week, we thought balance would be very important to incorporate into our program this week. So there's a lot of components that go into balance. As we know, our eyesight contributes to balance, our ears, our vestibular system, our proprioception, our awareness of where we are in space, our strengthening, flexibility. So there's a lot of components that go into balance. So what we want you to really be doing in your daily programs are, walking, getting as much functional movement as you can throughout the day. That's cardiovascular. Walking is the fountain of youth. If you can't get out and walk, but you can bike or swim or hike or do something else, as long as you're getting out and moving. There was just a study that I heard about out of Cambridge a few years back that said those that get up every half an hour, and even if they only walk up 40 steps, they're up and moving every half an hour, are happier. And we all need a lot of happiness right now in these times. So the more we can move, research shows makes us happy. So getting out and moving. Working strength, I'll give you a couple strengthening exercises today. Flexibility, we'll work a little bit on that today, as well as some specific exercises for core strengthening and posture, which is so important as we start to maybe round forward because technology and driving and reading and everything's in front of us. We need to begin to work on that posture so we're stable right over our pelvis, so we don't have that forward kind of motion. So we're stacked right over those hips, which will help prevent a fall and help with our balance. So we'll do a few balancing exercises as well. I'm very practical. I like to get things in when I can get them in, especially if I'm in a hurry. Sometimes it's daunting to think, oh my gosh, I have an hour. If I don't have an hour to do my exercise class, I'm just not going to do anything today. Well, hopefully today I'll share some tips with you that you can incorporate balance and strengthening that's going to help your balance and prevent a fall, that you can incorporate in your life and your daily kind of activities of living. So I want everybody to know that this is sort of a progressive class. So we'll start off with some sort of basic movements, and then it progresses into a little bit more challenging standing balancing exercises. So I want you to take it at your own pace. If you are going to participate, make sure you have a nice open space to practice in, that there's not a lot of obstacles around. And if you do choose to do the standing exercises as well, make sure you have something steady to hold on to, or somebody nearby if you need assistance. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're seated. Make sure you're not on a rolling chair. I've seen people my Zoom class is in rolling office chairs. So please, if you're doing this class, make sure you're not on a rolling chair. Make sure you've got a good sturdy base. We're going to ground our feet. Now shoes can be on or off. I like to do exercising with shoes on and off because a lot of the day we spend in our shoes. But we also need to do exercises with our shoes off so that our feet can actually move. So imagine your feet in shoes all the time, looking sort of like a club. So we want to be able to spread those toes open wide because our toes are meant to help us balance. So let's do that right now. Really spread those toes apart as much as you can in those shoes. So we want to feel a nice base of support in both where we're seated, but also in our feet. A lot of balance is proprioception, where we are in space. So we want to make sure that that brain is connected to those feet. So take a moment and just take a few deep breaths, because balance and learning requires thought. And that thought and neuroplasticity in the brain actually takes a little bit of time. So we're going to kind of go through these motions and work with the breathing as well, So we can really think about and send those brain waves down through that spinal cord, through the nerves, all the way to the muscles in the feet. So spread those toes open wide. Let's lift the right heel up and then lift the left heel up. So we're just going to do this a few times. Now, while we're doing this, remind yourself to breathe and feel those muscles in the feet. We become so disconnected to our feet, it's incredible. So when you're watching the news or reading, every once in a while, bring your awareness back to your feet. Feel grounded. Alternating those heels a couple more times. We want to feel the stretch in between the bones and around the bones and that movement. So now we're going to take that right foot forward. I'm going to move back actually just a little bit so you can see my feet a little bit better. And tap. So bring the foot forward and we're going to tap. So let's do it slowly to begin so we can feel the movement and strengthening in the shin. Now this muscle, the tibialis anterior in the front of the shin, is very important for picking up the feet. So if you do catch yourself tripping a lot, it may be because you don't have a lot of strength in the top of that shin and ankle. So doing this, again, while you're waiting for your husband to hurry up and do his chore list, you can tap your foot and wait for him. Or men, when you're waiting for your wife to finish her chore list too. So you can tap it out here, and it feels good bringing awareness to that shin and ankle. So we're going to tap it out and in as well, just to get a little bit more movement around those muscles. So again, we want to do this pretty regularly, and we can do it anytime throughout the day. When we're reading a book, just start moving those feet. We're very active, mobile creatures, so we want to be moving. Feel that shin starting to warm up a little bit, and then we'll bring that foot back to center, and then tap out the other foot. So let's do slow. Really work on lifting. Sometimes if we start too fast, we just get these little tiny movements here. We want to get a nice big movement here. So feel those shins engaging. So of course, these muscles are important to help prevent a fall when we're walking, but also for stabilizing and balance. So we'll tap a little faster now. Make some noise with those toes, kind of making that noise, and that impact will help bring that awareness and proprioception back to the feet and out and in. So I like to do movements fast as well, like we're doing now, because we need reaction time. As we age, we tend to lose maybe a little bit of that reaction time, as well as strength and muscle mass. So we need to work on strength, but we also need to work on some quickness exercises to get that reaction time firing and those fast twitch fibers firing. So hopefully you feel a little bit of kind of maybe warmth or energy flowing in through those shins and down in the ankles and toes. So now we're going to bring a little bit of mobility into those hips, because if we have rigid hips, we're going to be less agile and more likely to fall. So we want to just take the leg out and up, and then out and back in, out and up, out and in. So we want our core strong as well, but we're warming up from those toes all the way up that body. So feel those hips. Maybe each time we're getting a little bit more range of motion as well. We always want to do things in a comfortable range of motion. Again, these can be done any time of the day. Push away from that computer. Push away from that TV every half an hour and do some of these exercises. They don't have to all be done at once. Just spread them out throughout the day and bring awareness to that body. Mindful movement. Good. We'll do a few more on each side. Allow that neuroplasticity to occur. And then back in and center. Let's take a big breath in after that one. Stretch those fingers up and then reach them out. So we're moving up the body now into those hips. So bring the hands to the hips, and we'll move into just the upper hip area and even into the low back and around the waist by doing a half circle in that torso. Now this is going to be good to get range of motion and flexibility in that spine. which we need for balance and mobility. If we're very rigid, we're going to be more likely to fall and less likely to be able to catch ourselves if we do trip. So we need to keep that flexibility, not just in our legs, but in our torso, which is vital to balance. So a few more times on each side. As we do this, I want you to be aware of those abdominals working. I want you to be aware of that core, this movement in through that torso. They're starting to now compare sitting for too long and sitting in one place for too long as the new smoking. So it's that detrimental to our health. So we want to make sure if we are stuck in a chair or we are seated, that we're moving whatever part of the body we can move. So this will be really good for that low back. Let's do one more time, really aware of the muscles in that torso. So now let's sit up straight. So we're right on our sit bones. So posture is everything. I'm going to turn sideways so you can see this one. We're going to just round our back and sort of pull the shoulder blades in. Now some of you may, I'm exaggerating, but may be pretty tight in the chest, and this may be kind of a normal position. Let's slide the shoulders back and down and sit really tall. So we're stacked our head, ears, over shoulders, over pelvis, and we're grounded. Now let's do that again. Let's round it. So kind of pull those shoulder blades away and stretch the back. And then slide the shoulders back and down and open the chest. So again, this time we want to round it. Take the top of the hands together. And then open it, feel the chest. So this mobility in the spine is going to be really good for posture. We're strengthening and lengthening opposing muscles. As we breathe in, we want to open the chest here. As we breathe out, we're going to drop the chin. Breathe in, open, and breathe out. Why are we doing all these exercises? To improve our balance. We want to make sure that spine is mobile and healthy for stability. One more time. All the way up and in. Now we're relaxing down. Let's roll the shoulders. So we're working our way up. We started with those toes. Now we're working all the way up. And let's bring the hands together. We'll press those arms, reach those arms up. We want mobility in the shoulders as well. So if we're very tight in the shoulders, it's going to pull us forward. We're going to be more rounded if we're tight in the chest. So we want to roll the shoulders back, turn the palms open. And then roll it here. So I like to say bad posture. And then we'll roll it back up to good posture. Feel the movement in the shoulder. We need to take care of those joints. Why not do it all? Roll it back. One more time. Roll it forward. And roll it back. Let's bring those hands together. Giant breath up. And then we'll circle. So we're warmed up. Hopefully we covered a little bit of all of our muscles and joints to kind of get the blood flowing. Now I want to give you some specific exercises that you can do for more specific for balance. So seated, we're going to get in our good posture position. Our core is strong. We're going to lift that right leg up, reach those arms out to the side, and just do a little stretch over to that left side. Now as we do that, feel those abdominals working. Feel how that body is offset and off balance. We're having to counteract that reach to the side, that off balance. Now we'll come back to center. Let's switch legs. So we'll lift the left leg and reach across. So we don't want to do this. Keep those arms straight out and reach like you're reaching for the wall. And then back to center. Let's relax those arms, roll the shoulders back because I know we tend to hold a lot of tension in the shoulders when we're weak other places. Let's try it again, core strong, lift the leg up, arms are out, and we'll reach to the side. Feel those muscles around the core working to help counterbalance. Back to center. Sit tall, lift, and reach. We're working the core. As we move that head over to the side, we're challenging that balance a little bit more as well. And then back to center and relax. Now we're going to do it, it's going to get a little bit more challenging because as we take our eyesight away, we're taking away a sense of balance, one of our senses. So it's going to be more challenging. If you don't want to close your eyes, don't close your eyes. If you do, I want you to feel the difference. So we're back in this position, close the eyes and do a reach and feel how different that feels when you close the eyes. Back to center, open the eyes. Lift and reach, close the eyes. And center and open. Hopefully you felt the difference in how progressing. So we want to progress our exercise program. We want to progress our balancing program. So if something feels easy, carefully close the eyes. Carefully turn the head. Changing that sense of where our sight is will challenge balance a lot. We'll practice more of that. So then from here, let's do just a few shoulder rolls back. We're going to now lift the foot. Arms are out, and this time we're rotating. So the right knee is up. Let's rotate to the left and look to the left. Now this one's not only good for balance, but it's also good for that torso strength. So breathe in. Let's switch feet, strengthening the hips as well. Breathe out, rotate. Breathe in, center. Breathe out, switch the legs, rotate. So we're strengthening the hips and core while we challenge the balance. Why don't we close the eyes if that feels okay? This way we get a better sense of our other senses. One more time on each side. Rotate. Breathe in. The deeper the breath, the better. Breathe out. Breathe in. And then relax. By closing the eyes also as we age, our vision tends to change a lot. So if we practice our balance carefully with our eyes closed, we get a better sense of using our proprioception more, and it'll just help prevent a fall. So as much as we can practice without our sight, the better. So working now into some strengthening. So sit to stands. I'm sure all of you have seen sit to stands before and maybe just kind of forgot to keep them in your program every day. So each time you go to get out of a chair, let's go ahead and stand. Maybe just do a couple extra. So come back down in that seat, make sure the chair is there, have a seat, and we'll come up again. So every time you go to get up, maybe try to add an extra one. Or if it feels pretty easy, add an extra 2 or 3. We want to, as we're doing this, build movement into our already active lifestyle. If we're not as active, we just slowly build it in, maybe adding 1 or 2 extra. When we do this, we want to not stop here and then come back down. We want to get a few good ones in. We want to push those hips all the way forward, squeezing those back muscles. So we're not stuck here in the chair position. We want to push those hips forward and then take our step. So let's do a few more. This one's amazing for strengthening those legs, as well as those hips. Push forward, working that posture as we come up. Squeeze those shoulder blades. We'll do that 2 more times. This is an easy one to add in every single day. Strengthening those legs. 1 more. Now after that, as you're coming back into your chair to finish out that Game of Thrones series or whatever it is you're watching, you'll sit down and do a little hip stretch. So to keep those hips mobile, we want to do this maybe at least once a day, maybe a couple times a day. We want to come into that stretch if it feels okay, or just stay right up here. For some of you, this may be too much on the hip or knee, and we can just cross it here and then come forward for a little bit of a stretch in that hip, or slide it all the way up here. If you have sciatica, this one may be a good one to help with that as well. So it loosens up those hip rotators and can often help with sciatica as well. And then we'll switch sides. Sitting tall. So you can see balance is not just about standing on one foot, although we'll get to that. It's about keeping the whole body, all of the systems in check. Because we can stand on our one foot till the cows come home, but if our hips aren't flexible and our core isn't strong and our legs aren't strong, when we go to walk and do functional movements, we're going to feel really out of sorts and unbalanced. So we need to make sure that we stay flexible and strong as well. And then we'll come back to center. Take a giant breath in and out. Now from here, we're going to do a few standing. So if you want to do them standing, please do. You can modify and do some of them seated as well. Like our standing on one foot, you can just lift one leg while you're seated, still building strength in those hips. So let's stand, holding on to the chair. So we want to draw the belly in strong. All of the exercises we did in the beginning, the feet all the way up, can be done standing as well. You get a lot more pressure and force when you're standing on those feet. So we want to ground the right leg and lift that left knee up. So continue holding on until you feel pretty darn stable. And if you don't, just keep holding on. You want to hold this for up to 30 to 60 seconds. Now, of course, if you need to put the foot down, take a rest, bring it right back up. So we're getting about 30 to 60 seconds on each side. Feeling the strength. We want to feel what the body is feeling right now. Really pay attention if something doesn't feel right, if it's hurting, if it's working. Come down, take a break, and then come right back up. We have about 10 more seconds. So then what we're going to do from that one leg is to bring it into tandem. So we want to be doing probably about 5 to 10 minutes of balancing exercises every day. So again, it doesn't have to be all at once. We can spread them out throughout the day. Just do them throughout the day. So tandem feet, we want our wide base of support. So try to spread those toes open wide. Feel the stretch underneath those feet. In this pose, a lot of times we tend to stand a lot of weight on that back foot. So let's make sure there's equal pressure on both feet here. Now, if it feels okay, close the eyes. So we're still holding on, but just get a sense of when we close the eyes, how different the balance feels. And then opening the eyes. Still holding on, get a sense of when we turn our head now to the left, and then we turn our head to the right. It's not just good mobility for the neck and great for driving, it's challenging that balance even more. So that when we come back to center with our head forward and our eyes open, wow, this feels a lot easier now just doing this dance here. Maybe I can try it without my hands. So good. And remembering to breathe and then relax. So between the two sides, let's take a giant breath up and down. We'll go ahead and go over to the other side. And so that foot is grounded, the one that's next to the chair. We're holding on and that outside knee comes up. So let's try now, holding on. Once we feel pretty steady, let's have that head turn side to side. Just to feel how different it feels with the one leg up. Getting that nice mobility in this upper cervical spine, and also challenging the balance a little bit more. And looking center. Let's close the eyes if that feels okay. So we get a sense of proprioception, a sense of what our feet and our muscles are having to do when they can't see. And then opening the eyes. Maybe that feels easy now, and we can take the hands off for even just a couple seconds. If we have to bring the foot back down and then come right back up again. Then we'll go into our tandem feet. And I'm showing you a lot of different modifications because I know there's a lot of different levels out there. So if just standing or doing these seated is enough for you, know that this is how you're going to be progressing. You're going to start adding your head turns and closing your eyes and doing no hands. So we're progressing in our exercise program because our body needs to progress to get stronger. So good. So we're going to stay here. Let's try closing the eyes. Get a sense of those feet and where they are. Don't forget to breathe. A lot of times when we're really concentrating on balance and certain movements, we hold our breath. So we want to make sure we're breathing. Let's open the eyes. And now maybe taking the hands off is not so hard. So great. Good progression. And down. So then we'll bring our feet side by side. And this is what I like to do at the grocery store when I'm standing in line, because I have my cart in front of me and I can do some calf raises. So let's do those right now, calf raises. So these, while we were seated, we did the shins. So now we're doing the opposing calves and getting them nice and strong. So lifting those heels. This is easy to do throughout the day. Just doing while you're waiting for your coffee to brew. Holding on to the countertop, lifting those heels up. This one feels really good for strengthening under those feet and toes, as well as strengthening all the way up that back lower leg. So straight up and down. We'll do 2 more. Doing like 15 to 20 of these, 15 to 20 of the calf raise or the shin exercises, toe taps. And now we'll relax. So from here, it's a little bit more challenging. So we're going to stand behind our chair. I'm going to turn to the side so you get a little better view. We're going to lift one foot here. Standing tall, we want to keep this good posture. We're going to bring our hands down to the seat. And then we're going to bring the hands back up. So this is called drinking bird. So we come forward, hands down. And then we come up. We want to make sure we don't get stuck here. We want to come all the way up. So squeeze those back muscles and pull all the way up. Come forward, drinking bird. Now if this feels easy, then we do it together. We bring both hands down. We barely touch the seat. We barely touch the backrest. And then we reach the arms up. Come back, barely touch the backrest. Barely touch the seat, back, and then those arms come up. Let's do 2 more together. Tap. We can come here and up. Key is coming all the way back up and then down, all the way up. Perfect. Let's switch legs. So holding on as we switch to that other foot. Again, spread open those toes wide. Feel that foot and the wide base of support. We'll come down and then up, staying connected to that seat. Shoulders are back. Again, coming forward and back up. If you're seated, you just want to bring your torso forward and back up. So you're getting that mobility in your spine. You can do that. Come forward and up, advanced, adding that little stretch up to the sky. Come back to the backrest. Light tap, squeeze back, reach up. Tap, tap, up, and reach. One more, tap, tap, up, and reach. So now, after we've done all that work standing, all those muscles are going to be stronger. We want to stretch it back out. So let's take one foot back behind us in a calf stretch here. So we want to push that heel down and have a soft bend in that front knee here. And just breathing. Now, if it feels okay to reach those arms up as well, that'll challenge balance a little bit more. But we're focusing on that stretch here more than anything. So get that good stretch. And then we'll switch sides. All the way back. Push that heel down. Should feel pretty good after all that balancing. So coordination is a very important part of balance as well, and being able to have fast reaction time. So from here, standing, and if you're seated, you can do an opposite hand to knee here. So that will be good working coordination. If you're seated, opposite hand to knee. If you're standing, we're going to do like a giant step, as in we're walking big forward heel to toe with that opposite arm coming up. And then we're going to use that core to step that leg way back behind and push it down. Pull the arm back as well. So reach the arm in front and then push the arm back. So heel to toe, opposite arm to leg, and then back toe to heel. So a little more functional balance here. We like it functional as well. 2 more, forward heel toe, really exaggerating that toe to heel. So we have that mobility as well. And back, bring it together, and then we'll switch sides. So from here, core is strong. We'll go ahead and take that foot out, and the opposite arm is going to come up, and then we're pulling it back. Heel to toe in front, toe to heel behind. So holding on if that feels kind of unsteady at all here. Or we can add both arms for those that are a little bit more advanced with that balance and want a tiny bit more challenge. Opposite arm to leg, pull it back. So this is just like walking, but we're exaggerating that movement. The more we can practice it in this giant step, the easier it's going to be to balance in our normal gait. Do a couple more. Toe to heel, last one. And then we'll meet back at center. And just bring the hands to the legs, let's circle those knees around. That should feel really good, kind of releasing in those ankles. Let's go back the other way. All the way around. Then we want to go all the way up into circles in the hips. We'll circle like we're doing the hula, because that feels really good and it keeps that mobility in the spine, back the other way. And center. So everybody that's standing, let's come all the way back into our seat. And we'll sit grounded toward that front edge. Take a big breath up. And then all the way back out. One more big breath up. And back out. So hopefully you're feeling a little bit warmed up, a little bit more connected to those feet, a little bit more balanced. So a great stretch also, we'll finish with one more stretch. I don't want to give you so much that we're like bombarding you, but I'll go through and summarize everything once we do one more stretch, because I think this one is so important because we are spending a lot more time seated these days. So a good hamstring stretch is a stretch through the back of the leg, which is going to release that pelvis and allow that back to feel a little bit better. So if we feel tightness in our back, a lot of times it's from tight hamstrings. So I see a lot of people when they go to do this stretch, do this. We want to stay up very tall and just slide forward like we're hinging, like a door hinge. So hinging forward and feel that stretch here. And breathe. So it's not about touching the toes. If you can touch the toes, great. But I'd rather you just work on just sliding the hands down, maybe a little further with each breath. So breathe and relax. Breathe and relax. Relaxing the head, neck, and shoulders. Feeling the back of that leg. And then we'll come back up slowly and switching sides. We'll straighten that leg, sit tall, and slide it forward. Maybe as we breathe out, we can go a little further. Maybe a little further. And a little further. And great. So then we'll come all the way back up and sitting tall. Let's reach those arms up and then circle all the way down. So now I want you to just rest pretty comfortably. So just rest your hands on your lap. Let's close the eyes. So a lot of being balanced is being aware of our surroundings, aware of our body. So let's just take a moment with our eyes shut to sort of reconnect our brain to our body, to our muscles, to our joints. So as we breathe in, we bring that awareness with us to each and every muscle and joint. Thoughtfully exhaling and blowing away tension or stress. Reconnecting and balancing the different sides of the body as well. As we breathe in, even thinking of ways to balance out our schedules, to balance out life. Because we know when we're in a hurry, or running around, or rushing, we have a more increased chance of falling. So bringing awareness to the balance in our body, in our life, a sense of awareness around us, but also within. Opening up those eyes now. We'll bring our hands together and just reach them up slowly, as if they're almost floating out and down. So take a moment now and just sort of think about how you feel now versus about 40 minutes ago. And if you feel a little bit maybe better, lighter, a little less tension or stress, hopefully a little more balanced, making sure to incorporate these exercises. I know it was a lot of exercises, but just being aware of the toes, the feet, the ankles, the shins and calves, the thighs and hips and core and shoulders. We want to just be aware of those muscles, and we want to challenge balance every single day. Balance has a lot of factors involved, sleep and sickness and physiological and physical changes. So we want to make sure that every day we're doing a couple balancing exercises, core strengthening, flexibilities, walking, functional work. It all goes into balance, and it all will help prevent a fall. And that's what we want to do, is we want to prevent a fall from happening and put in the work before a fall happens versus trying to put in the work after a fall happens. It's much harder to rehab from a fall than it is to proactively do your exercises every day. And again, it doesn't have to be all at once. We can spread it out throughout the day. Even our walking can be 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes at noon, 10 minutes at night. So we can spread things out. It doesn't have to be all at once. We just have to make sure we fit it in at some point during the day. So if you have any questions, I think Carolyn is going to ask me for you. And if not, I look forward to seeing you maybe in a Shiley Zoom class or when we open here. I do have some 10-minute videos on YouTube too. It's just my name, and they're just free exercises that you can do to kind of break down, you know, different balancing exercises, using the stability ball for balance too, if you're a little bit more advanced and want a little bit more challenge. So you can check out those exercises as well. I try to keep them under 10 minutes so they're manageable. And that's it. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedules to take care of yourself. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Danica. We do have a couple minutes if anybody does have questions. I'm sure Danica would be more than happy to address any of those. We do have a chat box if you want to go ahead and type in some of those questions. We'll give it maybe a minute to see if any come in.
Okay, great. Well, thank you all. While we're sitting here, we can circle ankles. Ankles and wrists feel good to move too.
Yeah, and Paige just went ahead and put in the chat box, I think Danica's full name, so you should be able to find and access those videos if you're interested on her YouTube page.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, Danica Edelbrock, exercise physiologist, and it's on YouTube if you're interested. Yay.
All right, and then also I wanted to mention, Danica, if you really enjoyed this section, she is going to be doing classes as well on Wednesday and Friday. So the same time, 12:30. If any of you are interested in attending those sessions or any others, we have a whole week of activities planned for Fall Prevention Awareness Week. So definitely go to our website, register if you haven't, check out that calendar. But if there's no other further questions, I think we'll go ahead and end. Thank you, everybody, for attending.
Thank you. Have a great day.